right, my friends, welcome back to another installment of great bands that nobody liked. In this series, it's a little bit of an exaggeration. It's not necessarily that nobody liked these bands, it's just bands that were really good that I believe should have been bigger and either torpedoed their own career with some sort of bad decision, or, you know, maybe they were just like missing a little something and sort of never got as big as I thought they would have or should have gotten. So that is what we're talking about. Great bands that nobody liked, or more accurately, great bands that some people liked, but I thought more people would like. That's maybe a little bit better definition. I love this series. It's been so long since we've done one of them. I know, it's been so long. Join us for Volume 2. And now we will do Volume 2. It's been so long, hasn't it? I think it's time for us to revisit it. And also, I want to thank Dave for sponsoring this video. Finances can be super intimidating, right? And that is why you need Dave. Dave can make managing your money so much easier with interest-free extra cash advances, fee-free goal tracking, and easy ways to find a side hustle to make more money. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. It's part of Dave's extra cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest, and then settle up later. Extra cash gives you more money to buy groceries, fill up your tank, finally get your car repaired, or catch up on bills without having to wait until your next paycheck. Download Dave today at dave.com/fin. That's dave.com/fin. You could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com/fin. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC. The first band that we will talk about today in this edition of great bands that nobody liked is The Starting Line. I absolutely loved this album and this band. This is from, I think, 2004, 2005 maybe. What a great fucking album.
Tell me what you thought about when you were gone and so alone.
Seen them live 18 times. Holy shit. I thought these guys were huge. They weren't huge. But this song is great. This whole album is great. Great song, great album. They don't make music like this anymore. You know? Disney Channel movie rock. I mean, it is kind of Disney Channel movie rock. I'm gonna tell my kids this was MGK. That's right. You people thought MGK was a scene tourist. You thought he just came along and started doing this rock shit yesterday. Oh no, look people, video proof that way back in 2005, Machine Gun Kelly was playing in the award-winning pop punk band, The Starting Line. We have the evidence right here. Or maybe it's Aaron Carter, we don't know. The New Guys soundtrack. Was this on the New Guys soundtrack? It seems like it would be. Either way, this album is so good. You guys know me. I'm not cool. I'm not edgy. I'm just a boring suburban dad. Even PG-13 might be a little bit much. I like the, PG rated pop punk of this era. You know what I mean? Nothing edgy. No references to premarital sex. I like stuff like this where it's like, it makes you feel like this is the song that would be playing when you hold hands with the girl that you liked at summer camp. Like, that's all you wanted to do. You didn't want to do anything dirty to her. No, you would never do that. You didn't want to sin with her. You were just like, I really like Jenny. Maybe if she likes me back, we can hold hands before we go home from summer camp. That's all you wanted. That's all you wanted, right? The Starting Line was definitely that. It's like All American Rejects, Something Corporate, all that stuff that's like not exactly pop punk, but it's not just straight up pop either, but it's just like very like clean cut, G-rated kind of music. I miss that stuff. That's right. The Bullies wanted to sin with her. I just wanted to sit with her. I think this album is absolutely fantastic. Maybe they could have been bigger, but I think with The Starting Line, the problem is that their second album was not as good. It feels like another one of these bands that had an incredible first album and really could just never follow it up. And that's tough because this album is so damn good that it's like, I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's just another one of those sad examples of a band that had a brilliant first album and really couldn't do anything more than that. At the time their first album came out, they were competing with some heavy hitters. That's true. That's true. The Bedroom Talks. Yeah, I mean, this whole album is great, legitimately. And I believe that this guy, I think he was only 17 or 18 when he did this. Super talented songwriter. And I believe that they still play shows, but just, you know, couldn't quite follow it up. Unfortunate, because you guys know how much I like that PG Disney Channel pop punk. On the heavier side of things, I've talked about this band before, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it again. On the heavier side of things, this is Demolisher. This is the World of Hatred EP from, I think, 2009. And the great thing about MySpace deathcore is obviously the big bands like Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, Carnifex, Winds of Plague, Job for a Cowboy. Those bands were all great. But what I feel was kind of really slept on is all the like C-tier bands that like nobody's ever really heard of, that like kind of never really went anywhere. There were so many great bands like that, just amazing, like kind of shitty but kind of great, like C-tier deathcore bands. Demolisher was the number one band in that category. They signed to Century Media but never put anything out like this again. I'm quite certain that I got them signed to Century Media because I used to talk to one of the A&R guys at Century Media back then a lot, and he asked me what bands I liked, and I told him about Demolisher and Monsters. I think they both signed to Century Media. I'm not sure, but yeah, that I'm pretty sure I got them signed to Century Media. Unfortunately, they had a bunch of lineup changes and kind of never really went anywhere, but god damn it, this is so good. And again, they were so young when they did this. Listen how fucking heavy this is. This is one of the best basketball shorts and fitted hat deathcore bands. Yes. Listen how fucking heavy this shit is. Just riffs for days. This song also has an amazing part. This song, FEFC. The lyrics are amazing. They're so ignorant. Featuring Adam from Oceano. Listen to this part. This is one of the most ignorant fucking lines of all time coming up. Just peak ignorance. When I see you, you're gonna get fucked up. I miss lyrics like that. Now deathcore songs are some fucking 7-minute long epic about some fucking Elden Ring lore or some shit. What happened to when I see you, you're gonna get fucked up? Huh? That's what I call deathcore lyrics. Great stuff. Demolisher, shout out to Demolisher. Great band of the MySpace deathcore era. How about a band that I've talked about quite a bit? They were the coolest band in the world in 1999, which is Saves the Day. Back when this came out in 1999, they were the hypest fucking band on the scene. Like, no question. I don't even know what to compare it to because it's been so long since there was like any kind of band this hype. I guess maybe like The Story So Far was like the last band I kind of remember having this kind of hype in sort of the pop punk world. But when this came out, it was like all the cool kids absolutely worshipped this band and this album, and for good reason. It was amazing. Like, this song is so fucking catchy. And a cool video too. And wait a minute, do you see this? There are actual girls in the crowd. What? Back then, you know, in anything related to hardcore, you would never, ever, ever find a girl in the crowd. They didn't exist. Well, actually, that's not true. There was like one girl in every city that like went to hardcore shows, usually to like take pictures or something like that. There was like one cool girl in every city, in every hardcore scene, but that's it. There was one. Maybe she had one friend or something like that, but girls were very, very rare. There's more girls at a Guitar Center now than there were girls at hardcore shows back then. These kids are probably working 9-to-5 jobs now. These people probably have kids in fucking college. The kids in this video are like in their mid to late 40s now. Their kids are fucking going to college. That's how brutal and uncompromising the march of time is. But it's a great song, great video. This chorus is just so fucking good. What great songwriting. And it had good production too. Shout out to Steve Evetts. This chorus, man, 10 out of 10. I miss this look too. The youth large, vintage t-shirt kind of look. We need to bring this look back. And, the rolled up Gap shirt. Every girl in this video looks like they shop at Delia's or the Gap. Their next album, I think, was the biggest one that they did with, what's the big song? At Your Funeral. That's right. At Your Funeral was like their biggest song, which wasn't that in like some movie or something? I don't remember what it was. But anyway, the problem with Saves the Day is that they got kind of weird. He started singing in what I guess is like his natural voice, and it was just kind of strange. And it turns out Chris Conley, the singer, seems like kind of an odd guy, super talented, like definitely the most talented songwriter out of this scene for sure. But he was seemed like kind of a weird guy, kind of went off the rails a little bit. And you just have to wonder if he would have stayed kind of doing this and not been so weird, then I feel like they could have been like Dashboard Confessional or, Fall Out Boy or something like that, I think, to be, that really big mainstream breakthrough emo band. But unfortunately, that never happened. But we will always have this album, which in my opinion is a timeless 10 out of 10 classic that almost makes me feel like I'm young again. But then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh no, definitely not young anymore. Definitely not the case. I'm definitely, unfortunately, old as shit. Next up, on the pop punk side of things, we have Unwritten Law, which is one of my all-time favorite pop punk bands. Their first album, the self-titled one from 1998, is one of my favorite pop punk albums of all time. You might know them from the Blink-182 song Josie, where he says, "My girlfriend likes UL and DHC. DHC is Dancehall Crashers. UL is Unwritten Law." This first self-titled album, I think, is amazing and great. Blink was obviously trying to put on Unwritten Law, but they just could never really kind of catch on. Unwritten Law wrote some of the most heartbreaking lyrics of all time. It's true. They're sort of like Motion City Soundtrack, where it's like poppy, upbeat, catchy music, but then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh, fuck, this is all about being like a depressed addict that has this incredibly bleak outlook on life. But I mean, I think they're great. This album is one of my favorites of all time. A little bit more of like a rock edge than a lot of pop punk bands back then.
Well, I'm here, but I don't want to stay 'cause
He has a great voice. This is from 98. Looks like a Marauder video. It does. Now, they did have a little bit of a hit with this song, Seeing Red, from 2005 or something, I think. And this song is great, too. Yeah, he has a great voice. This song is great. I remember my girlfriend at the time worked at this place called Gadzooks at the mall, which was kind of like it's kind of like Zoomies or something, but sort of like the less cool version of Zoomies. She worked at Gadzooks, and she also worked at Mr. Rags, and they would play videos like on the TV at Gadzooks. And I remember they played this song there. Unwritten Law also had another album, which is the most underrated thing they've done. Here's to the Morning. I've never really heard anything that sounds like this album. You can see, I mean, look at the cover. It's like cigarettes, alcohol, and pills, and this, face that looks like it's kind of clinging to life. So you can see, you get the vibe of kind of what the music is. I've really never heard anything like this. You can check it out. It's almost like, I don't know, Deftones-y pop punk or something. Kind of butt rocky. Really never heard anything else that sounds like this. I love this album. Anyway, if you like that Motion City Soundtrack kind of vibe of, basically there's like this very small, Alkaline Trio would fit into this too. There's this very small segment of basically like, pop punk / pop rock sort of stuff for like self-hating fuck-ups who drink too much and take too many drugs. It's like pop punk for people who are like slowly drinking themselves to death. It's a very small segment of bands like that, but I like it a lot. I think this band is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, I think that they were a little bit too self-destructive to really ever kind of get their career going in the way that they should have. I mean, these lyrics were not made up out of nowhere, and unfortunately that got in the way of their career. They might still be a band, I'm not sure. A niche market and your customers die off. That's true too. So unfortunately, I think they were an incredibly talented band that kind of got in their own way, but I would definitely recommend you check out Unwritten Law if you hate yourself. I don't hate myself anymore, but I definitely did when this came out. And the last band for this edition of Great Bands That Nobody Liked is Sworn Enemy. Now, Sworn Enemy is a hardcore band from Queens, New York. Obviously, nobody ever expected them to be like big, but I feel like this is a band that even among people who like hardcore now, they do not get as much respect as they should, because Sworn Enemy is hard as fuck. Hard as fuck. This is as real as it gets from 2007 on Stillborn Records. Jamie from Hatebreed's label, Stillborn Records. Some of the most like hateful, brutal hardcore. This chorus is great. Very nasty. Feel like I'm about to catch a charge. Yeah, I mean that's the vibe. Here we go. Here it is. But I'll tell you what, they're a rare example. Their old shit is good, but their new shit is actually the best. The vocalist is a shit. I'll tell you what you should do. You should go find the guys from Sworn Enemy, and you should tell the vocalist to his face that you think he's a shit. I think you should do that, and then you should report back to us on what happens. And before you do that, you should probably just check to make sure your insurance is up to date. Before you talk shit on Sworn Enemy, definitely make sure that your insurance is up to date. That's my recommendation. Their old stuff is good, but very rare example. This new shit, this is one of the hardest fucking things I have ever heard in my goddamn life. All these kids, every like fucking Tsunami kid or whatever. Yeah, all the kids, all the TikTok kids that heard about Tsunami and Gulch and whatnot from TikTok, like that's cool. I love those bands. They're awesome. But Sworn Enemy is indeed as real as it gets. And all those kids need to be listening to this. This is my favorite Sworn Enemy song, Prepare for Payback. This shit is as hard as it fucking gets.
Step the fuck back before you get knocked down.
Some of the most just aggressive shit you'll ever hear in your life. I'll bring the hammer down.
Step the fuck back.
Hard as fucking nails.
I'll bring the hammer down. Prepare for payback.
Prepare for Payback. Love these riffs too. So like thrashy.
Motherfucker, you burned me twice.
You should go tell him he's a shit. You should do that. Find him and tell him he's a shit. It's not like nobody's done this before, but there's a level of like just like violent ignorance that you find with this that you can't fake it. You can't fake this. Finn genuinely loving the idea of someone talking shit to his face. Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing, people. What I appreciate about this generation of hardcore, you know, bands like this or Scarhead, you know, lots of other bands too, Marauder, it wasn't just talk. You know, these kind of bands, the guys in these bands, if you talk shit about them, they will break your fucking face. At least back then they would. I don't, you know, hopefully now they're not still living that way. But these are the type of guys that, you know, someone would tell you a story about them moshing with a hammer. I'm not saying that anybody in Sworn Enemy did that, but the type of guys in these bands, you know, it was like, oh yeah, I remember when I went to that show, I saw him at CBGB's in 97. He was moshing with a hammer and he hit some kid in the ear with it. That type of thing. The level of like violence back then, or you can go watch Boston Beatdown and see Elgin There's a famous DVD called Boston Beatdown. You can go watch it. It's on YouTube. There's a clip in there of Elgin James on his couch. I think it's Elgin that got stabbed. One of those guys got stabbed in the side, and he's stitching himself up on the couch with dental floss. I'm not going to show you because I don't want to get TOS'd. But like, that's the level of violence, you know? And I'm not advocating that lifestyle, but I'm saying I just feel like hardcore is a little soft. You know, they call it hardcore for a reason. It's not supposed to be user-friendly. You know, you go to a hardcore show and you run your mouth to the wrong person and, you know, you might get your fucking nose broken. And that's just how it is. And I'm sorry. I think that's how it should be. Anyway, that does it for this edition of Great Bands That Nobody Liked. Definitely check out Sworn Enemy and join us next time for the third edition of Great Bands That Nobody Liked. You should tell the vocalist to his face that you think he's a shit.